Howdy and hello. We'll be talking about atrociously designed enemies in Helldivers 2, the ones that make the experience not as good as it could be, and I'll be explaining why. I was going to launch this video after I made one talking about the best designed faction, automatons. From the weak points, overall flow of the missions, I think they're fantastic, except for three things right now. That would be ragdoll radius being ridiculous, or explosions are knocking you over from further away, bugged. Wall hacking, they're seeing you through structures, bugged. And detection range. I hop on a vehicle and they see me from 150 meters away. That makes zero sense. Also bugged. So those three things that were previously fixed or not a big deal are broken now, and it makes the faction feel awful to play against. So how can I sit there and say automatons are really well designed, and you go and play against them and you're spending half the match on the ground because of ragdoll radius getting shot through the moment you peek around a corner by a bunker turret that ragdolls you or kills you instantly? It's very hard to really substantiate my argument there. So instead, we're discussing the worst designed monsters in Helldivers 2. Starting off with my favorite, Alpha Commanders. This thing doesn't make any sense. It is way too tanky with no real weak spots. Shoot the legs. No. Shoot the legs, it becomes faster, more agile, turns quicker, and wants to take your head off in two swings. You'll get two shot in essentially every single armor, even while wearing Vitality Booster. If not two, it's three. Don't shoot the legs. Go for the face. Why does it have so much durable HP? It doesn't make any sense. You're being spammed by Alpha Commanders sometimes. Is this like 30 Alpha Commanders? I feel like it's 30 Alpha Commanders. They'll make up more than roughly a third of the mobs you'll see in a mission. And they'll sit there summoning minions and walking away. And it's the most tilting thing on one mission in particular. The best mission the game has currently, which is Raise the Flag, because it actually gives you reasonable enemies. Activate objective, summons enemies. But this mob right here is one of the main cruxes to all of my enjoyment on this mission. I don't get why it's being spammed, because when it's not that, it's bile spewers. But back to Alpha Commanders real quick. They summon minions when their head is missing. They make a bug breach when their head is missing. They can aimbot you when their head is missing. You can't have Alpha Commanders without Hive Guards. I mean Alpha Warriors. Little track team of three hunting you down like a wild animal. They're faster than almost everything else the game has to offer. Take off their face, they can still hit you. And if they do hit you, it's for more than half your HP because they tend to go for headshots. They have something like a 70 to 80% headshot accuracy. It's impeccable. And the Alpha Commander is the respawn beacon running away the whole time. And even if you see it, the head's facing away from you, meaning it'll take you a long time to kill it. And most guns that are good at killing them quickly aren't good against the rest of the bugs. Number dos. Bile Spewers. A mob that can ragdoll you from across the map behind structures and walls because it has a mortar attack. And at the moment, explosion radius is broken, so you get ragdolled from further away. They have a spew attack that for a long time could kill you almost instantly. You're getting hit by it, you dive away before it hits you, it touches your big toe, you're dead. And they're tanky, unless you have explosive weapons. But there's no way of knowing you're facing bile spewers for certain. And the whole constellation nonsense doesn't work anymore because for the longest time, for 50 hours, I was playing the Raise the Flag mission, only getting Alpha Commander spam, or occasionally nursing spewers. That was it for a long time. A week passes, now all of a sudden I'm getting essentially nothing but bile spewers. If you bring a stalwart into that, for instance, expecting Alpha Commander spam or a hunter seed, and you get bile spewers, your ability to play the game goes down something fierce. You're better off busting out a grenade pistol and using that on cooldown, essentially. And the insane thing is, Bile Spewers is a seed that also has Bile Spitters and Bile Warriors. Three mobs, been in the game for forever, they're their own sub-faction. Imagine if you had the Incineration Core and no indication you're facing it. I'm gonna go play for the automatons. It's gonna be awesome. You don't bring fire armor, and you're not gonna get one shot by a single mob, a single bullet, because it lets you on fire, and you get rolled. If you didn't know, that would feel terrible. It's kind of the same thing with the whole Bile Spitters, Warriors, and Spewers. Number 3, Spore Chargers. Why do we have a moving Stevie Wonder modifier on a charger that's already tankier to kill than it should be and makes it so I can't see things in the video game whenever I want to see things? The game looks great when I can actually see. We already have way too many missions that make it impossible to see things at a decent level. And some don't even have a modifier saying reduces visibility, which is a pretty made up, nonsensical excuse in the first place, that still reduce visibility. You go on a mission that has a lunar eclipse, a solar eclipse. It's not said anywhere that can happen, and it turns your entire screen red for 5 minutes at a time. It looks terrible. It is not immersive. It is lame. I want to have a base level of being able to see in the game. No one's having a great time whenever the whole screen turns kind of darkish. It's maybe okay for a couple missions, but it happens so often now, and it seems that the majority of the maps we're getting have that being a built-in effect. And older maps have worse visibility. They just cranked up all the freaking fog on all the maps. And that's probably contributing to worse FPS, which is crazy. So having a monster that's a moving version of that doesn't really seem that fun, because it also makes the existing lack of visibility on maps, because all the fog and nonsense, worse. Not a fan, in the slightest. And going back to the whole tankiness, it's ridiculous how it takes so long to kill them. They made it so more weapons can kill them through their armor, but they also buffed how long it takes to do that, which just seems a little counterintuitive. Another aspect that ruins my immersion and destroys visibility is anytime someone has an experimental booster and I stim. My screen tends to turn into this Cheeto mode, where everything is orange and red hue. Cheeto mode engaged. Number 4, bunker turrets. These small, miniature, unassuming turrets that are wall hacking, aimbotting, ragdolling, camouflaged, mechanical monstrosities that are ridiculous to deal with. You can't even see them, and even if you don't see them, it doesn't matter because they can see you from 150 meters away, and the second you peek around a mountain, they shoot you. They can miss you and still ragdoll you. They get 2 shots. The first shot can ragdoll, second shot can one-tap you to the dome. If they don't hit you in the face, it is going to hit you for more than 2/3 your HP, even with Vitality Booster. It's frustrating. Why is this random miniature turret the deadliest thing the automatons have to offer? Which isn't to say you should buff the other things to make them more deadly. It's a horde shooter, and the deadliest thing isn't the army of bots, the tank towers, the tank turrets, factory striders, or hulks. It's the Muy Poquito turret, because it can ragdoll you with insane accuracy, and it sees you the moment you peek out from a mountain, a wall, or anything to shoot you and start that process of just ragdolling to the point you can't even do anything against it. There's no counterplay. That's the big issue. Tank turrets, they take a while to turn to you, and when they do turn, they have a red flash. It doesn't give you all the time in the world to react, but it gives you a chance. Finally, we have number 5. Overseers. Flying, grounded, doesn't quite matter. They're both overtuned something fierce, mainly because they have armor that makes it so you can't one-shot them with an 817 shot to the body. Or a railgun shot max charge to the body. You can go for headshots, but this is where the problem lies. Most primary weapons aren't killing them to the face in a reasonable time frame, given all the detrimental aiming factors I covered in great detail in a previous video. So why do they have so much HP on their noggins, even though they're very difficult to hit, given third-person aim will mess up where the reticle is based on the foreground and background? You have Constitution that can't reach the breakpoint to one-shot a medium mob. Same thing for DCS. You can use the Deadeye, but that weapon currently has an issue where wherever you're shooting, if you're moving reticle while trying to hit the shot, it'll miss. Hitting the flying overseers in third person is obviously going to be a bit of a task consistently. The grounded dudes have a shield that pops up that blocks their face from any and all damage. You can go for the legs, which are a pretty small hitbox, which is fair, but it takes a while to kill them once you strip the armor using medium pen weapons. It takes you 3 shots to kill the chicken wang on a overseer. And you can see how small that is, correct? I feel like that's excessive. So the whole point of this video is to point out that we don't necessarily need to buff weapons, although some we do. Instead, we'll look at the enemies that are just far too tanky that make a lot of weapons essentially not very fun to use. Automatons are a fantastic thing to look at for good game design, by the way. Specifically, their breakpoints, weak spots, and the amount of enemies you're usually facing. It gives you a reasonable challenge that you can overcome if you are good enough and if the game cooperates a little bit, because you can use light pin weapons, assault rifles, and SMGs and get meaningful value. None of that copium nonsense. 2 shots to the face and Devastators kills them. And they're not that insanely hard to hit. Sometimes the shield dudes walk sideways and you can't see their face. You can go for the legs though. Takes a bit longer to kill, but there's options that don't take 1,000 years. I'll take this time to explain my solutions for the grievances I've had with these monsters in this video juego. First and foremost, what are the bugs? Just give them better weak point design, decrease durable HP on a few of the mobs, and potentially stop cranking the slider on their pitter patter, brother. They don't all have to be moving Mach 10. Experiment with the idea of making it so hunters and other bugs have less durable HP. They should probably get one-tapped by a few more guns in the game, namely marksman rifles. Diligence, maybe not so much, but DCS, Constitution, those should be one-tapping to the body. Expecting us to hit headshots on hunters consistently doesn't make any sense. It is a far more sporadically moving faction that has larger numbers than the automatons, and the automatons are already an accuracy-first based faction. And they make sense. Bugs should probably have more numbers in the future, and they just shouldn't take so long to kill with so many guns. For the Illuminate Overseers, namely, make it so our guns are more accurate, brother. Why do we have so much weapon sway? It feels as if I'm using a sidearm, scoped in third person, walking to the left, briskly. My gun's throwing it back for voteless. What is the deal with that? So how am I expected to hit shots that are meaningful and impactful when the game is fighting against me? And that's not to mention the visual clutter on your scopes in first person and the weapon sway there too. It's just bobbing up and down constantly. So if you decrease weapon sway by 25%, which sounds a lot, but it's not, because weapon sway is that bad for most guns, things become a lot more feasible and usable against the faction. Decreasing visual clutter on first person scopes would help as well. And honestly, that's all that faction really needs right now. I think I'd be cool with that. Obviously, it needs more units, but that's hopefully happening in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a good day.